while yesterday didn't have the biggest ranked games of all time, it did have its own share of interesting games that will most certainly shake up the rankings. Um, Make sure y'all like and subscribe because I'm pretty sure my channel's doing pretty well so far. I've really enjoyed doing NFL power rankings and these college football game reviews. I'm trying to learn more about college football because I think even if it's not my main job, eventually I would really like to be an NFL analyst. And that, you know what really is a big deal in the NFL? The draft. And you know what those drafted players come from? College football. So yeah, speaking of college football, let's go to our first game. Now you might be seeing a team that is ranked number 1 only being a team that is unranked by 10. Well, yeah, it wasn't our greatest showing, but I did kind of expect this. I never said it in a video, but I had our prediction being 14-38. You might be like, that's way different than what these are. This prediction is, well, I expect us to struggle a little bit. I didn't expect our offense to be this bad, though. That's just what I didn't expect. I got the South Carolina points right, but I did not get Georgia's points right. Now, game overview. Actually, we can just read this. Number 1, Georgia bounces back from 11-point halftime deficit to beat South Carolina 24-14. Number 1, Georgia trotted off the field to a smattering of boos from the home crowd and facing its biggest halftime deficit in nearly 3 years. Now, if you watch this game, you probably have a lot of interesting things to say about it, just like I do. I never really thought we were going to lose this game, except for a little bit of the portion where as soon as their offense started getting really good, I started getting a little worried. But as soon as the halftime hit and we scored on our first drive, I really wasn't that worried. I was like, okay, I can kind of smell it. Then we got stopped after that. I was like, okay, South Carolina's clearly not the same team they were in the first half. But if you look at the scoring summary, you can see that in the first half, we only scored 3 points. So South Carolina scored 14. But in the third quarter, we put up 14. And in the fourth quarter, we put up 7. While we shut out South Carolina in the second half. I don't think we've had a team score in both halves of the game yet. That's still a streak that we have. And it's probably going to continue as we're going against UAB next week. Looking at stats time. Let's start with whoever they let us start with, because I don't really care who we start with. South Carolina, Spencer Rattler started out the game 16 of 18, ended up 22 of 42. That's insane. 256 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, both in the fourth quarter. He also was their leading rusher because South Carolina has no run offense. 8 for 35. DeCarrion Joyner, 5 for 10. Mario Anderson, 2 for 9. Yeah, this is a pretty bad week for running the ball. And we got Omega, which is a crazy name. Omega Blake, 5 for 86. Xavier Leggett, 7 for 71. Antoine Wells, 2 for 32, stuff like that. He also had a touchdown. Not really too much on defense for South Carolina. I mean, Debo Williams and Nick, that guy, they had double-digit tackles. Sacks, they did have 2. Only 2 passes defense throughout the entire game, though. And 0 interceptions, turnovers, stuff like that. Not the greatest week on defense, despite them only allowing 24 points. Let's go over Georgia, though. Carson Beck, 27 of 35, 269 yards. We had a pretty good running back here. Dajon Edwards in his return, 20 carries, 118, and a touchdown. Dylan Bell and Cash Jones also ran into the end zone. Carson Beck ran 5? No, I'm pretty sure those must be including sacks or something. Receiving-wise, Rosemary Jackson also returned to have a pretty good day, along with Dominique Lovett, Brock Bowers, and Ra Thomas. No receiving touchdowns for the team, though. Defensively, we finally got our sacks in check. We had 3 this week compared to the 1 we had in the past 2 weeks. Tackles Ross, we had a ton as well. Kamari Lassiter was pretty good at that. Pass defense, you can see 3 for Malachi Starks. Interceptions, 1 for Tyke Smith, and 1 for Dan Jackson. And our kicker missed twice. Now, if any takeaways from this game are, one, our offense cannot slow start against ranked teams like we are against all these other teams, or we are going to lose. You see, we only beat Ohio State by 1 when we had a slow start in that game. And 2, Malachi Starks is a monster. He was breaking up passes and locking down receivers the entire game. He really looks like our best defensive player, and that's crazy because his defense is so good. But he just continues in these last 2 years to not only make big plays, but also do things. He's like a combination of Kayla Ringo and I'll say like what's his name, Tyson Campbell, where Tyson Campbell I was more of a lockdown guy, where Ringo was more of a big playmaker, and you combine those two and make Malachi Starks, and he's just a great mix of both of those things. Not much else to say about this win though. I expected this, even when we were losing at halftime, that we would probably find a way to win this game. And we're probably not going to. I don't think we went down in the rankings either. Just because we still did win by 10 against an SEC opponent. But this is not the main game I want to talk about today. Because the next game is, once again, Alabama being kind of disappointing here. Also, I searched for Alabama so much in this. They probably think that I'm like a Alabama fan or something. But yeah, Alabama, 17-3 against South Florida. There's no excuse, no explanation for a SEC team, a top 10 ranked team in the league, to win by 14, only putting up 17 points. And you can't even say, well, our defense is really good because it's South Florida. You can't look at the great things you did in this game because you should be expecting great things. You have to find the flaws in weak games like this, which is why I was a little bit worried about Georgia's offense against Ball State and UT Martin, because that was the main flaw. And also, you expect these teams to win these games, so it doesn't matter if they win or not. It matters how good they looked in their win. And don't even try to say, well, Auburn wasn't trying that hard, because even when they were trying hard last week against Texas, they still lost. It's just not looking good for them as a program. We're not even going to go over USF's stats. We're going to go straight to Alabama. Ty Simpson and Tyler Buckner were terrible. Both of them only completed 5 passes. Simpson 5 of 9. Buckner 5 of 14. They barely even threw for over 100 yards this game. No touchdowns. Rushing, though, Roydell Williams was great. 17 of 29 for a touchdown. And Jace McClellan, 13 for 74. So, yeah, those two did very well on the ground, which is pretty much the only reason Alabama even put up 17 points in this game. Also, Ty Simpson apparently got a touchdown, even though he got sacked a few times, clearly. Receiving, not much. C.J. Dippery 1 for 45, and Isaiah Bond 4 for 42. It was like Kool-Aid McKinstry lost a fumble? Okay. Thought he was on defense. And I guess James Smith recovered it? I don't know. Defensively, Alabama had 5 sacks, which is pretty good. 10 tackles for loss and 3 pass defense. So that, you could even tell by the score that they were a pretty good defensive team this week. Interception by Malachi Moore. Actually, I saw that one. Not live or anything, but I saw it on ESPN. I was looking at the game, and I said, oh my goodness, yeah, big interception. Yeah, that's pretty much it for Alabama here. And it's weird seeing them put up 17 points against anybody, let alone USF. It's really looking like this dynasty may be over or close to over. But speaking of a team that's kind of in the opposite direction, instead of their dynasty ending, it looks like they might start a dynasty with how good they've been in the past couple weeks. Colorado. Now, I think this was probably their weakest game, not because of them losing or anything, but if you want to be thought as a top team, these teams should not be putting up 35 points against you. But the thing is that I didn't even expect Colorado to be like a top team, so I'm proud of them for this win. I think for the spot that I expect them to be this year, that this game should have and has been won. Shedeur Sanders continues to be an absolute beast. We're just going to do Colorado stats here. Oh my goodness. Braden Flower, Nicolosi, 3 interceptions, 3 touchdowns. What a game for him. The run game wasn't that good either. We can just go quickly over this. They had 3 100-yard receivers. Wow. Okay. They also lost a fumble, also recovered one too. Aiden Hector had 10 tackles. They had 4 sacks, which is not what you want to see for Colorado. 9 whole tackles for loss, but only 1 pass defense, which, Shedeur Sanders is really good. So he had another amazing week. Is this like his first interception? I think it is. 38 of 47, 348 yards, 4 TDs, and a pick. A great week for him once again. Dylan Edwards, 10 for 57. They didn't really run the ball much or effectively. Receiving, Xavier Weaver did great. a touchdown along with almost 100 yards. Michael Harrison, 7 for 76 and 2 touchdowns. And finally, Jimmy Horn, 7 for 66 and a touchdown. Their passing game is looking lethal, probably top 5 in the league. Travis Hunter did fumble, though. Well, so did the Edwards, but they didn't lose that one. And Derek McLendon recovered a fumble. Tackles a ton for Juwan Mitchell. Or is it Juwan? It's either Juwan or Juwan. I'm going to go with Juwan here. And they also had 3 sacks, 9. These teams just had a lot of tackles for loss because there wasn't much of a running game between these two teams. And 3 pass defense. They had 3 interceptions. Shiloh Sanders, Trevor Woods, and Cameron Silman Craig. I mean, yeah, this is not that surprising. This game was so close, especially because they're in-state rivals. But I think this might kill the Colorado championship things a little bit this and last week, because people especially why Colorado could win championship in week 1 was because they beat a team else in the championship last year, and now they've had 2 honestly not amazing games. They had a good game against Nebraska and a great game offensively against Colorado State, but they did not have a good game defensively. Well, score-wise. Turnovers, yeah, they did good in turnovers. But I'm not going to say anything crazy until a couple weeks from now because they go against Oregon and USC. Looks like the NCAA did not want Colorado to have a cakewalk of a schedule. They have a ton of ranked opponents. Yeah, I think the next 2 weeks are going to be the biggest weeks of Coach Prime's career. He has to go against Oregon and USC back-to-back. If they could win even one of these games, I'll be very proud of Colorado. What do you guys think about these 3 games, though? Is there a different team that I should review? Because it's been Georgia, Alabama, and Colorado like this entire time. I could definitely shake it up next week. See you guys next time. And it will probably be on Monday or Tuesday, as I'll probably do power rankings and stuff for the NFL. See y'all later. Goodbye.